Yes. Okay, Diane, please.
Okay, so as an example, you would say the divine surrenders this frustration, or the divine surrenders this relationship with my son.
Yes.
You use the word my or
I will repeat Diane's question. She's saying, how do you use the surrendering technique in the case of trying to surrender the relationship with her son, right? In that case, will you say, for example, the divine surrenders this my this relationship with my son, and the word mine, you know, my, it's personal, right? So you're dealing with the same problem that I was mentioning. Language was created for duality. It was not created for non-duality, right? So it's tricky. Even if you say between me and my son, it's okay. We don't need to have perfect non-dual methodologies. We you can be a little dualistic in surrendering, especially. So don't worry about that. You, even if you say I surrender my relationship with my son to the divine, still is okay. It's not a big deal as long as there is sincerity. The divine looks into the heart. Are you really sincere? Is the mind body organism really sincere of letting go, wanting to letting go? Who is learning to surrender? The one that is learning to surrender is the mind body organism. Is this biological AI? See, you create an AI, an artificial intelligence, right? A robot or a computer that has artificial intelligence, and how it learns? It learns through the environment. It learns through experience. This biological artificial intelligence is learning through experience, same as yours, same as each one here. They are all biological artificial intelligences, but what is looking through this biological artificial intelligence, that consciousness that is the perceiving, that is not a biological artificial intelligence, that is consciousness. But the mind body organism is highly programmed, right? And it can learn. That thing can learn. Same as an artificial intelligence mechanism or computer. It can learn, and it can learn to surrender. It can learn to let go. It's like opening the hand, right? You can teach a robot to close the hand and to hold to something or to let go. It's the same, but at the mental level. Yeah, it's opening the hand. It's opening instead of closing at the mental level.
Did you mean to say, at one point you said, the divine surrenders? So you're talking about the part of you that is divine?
Yeah, when I say when I say the divine, I'm referring to that one divine consciousness that is all of us, right?
Okay.
That is looking through all of us and is functioning through all of us.
Why would that part need to surrender anything?
See, that's the tricky part. That one consciousness is the only one that is the only doer. So it's the only one in the ultimate sense that can surrender something, meaning it can release something, right? So where is it releasing it from? It's releasing it from the mind-body organism. It's commanding it to be released from the mind-body organism. You see?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
That
That
makes
makes more sense to you.
That did
Yes.
make sense before. Okay,
Right,
thank
right,
you.
right. And it has a lot of power. That sentence with a student that is very good with calibrations, he calibrated that sentence at 960, right? The divine surrenders this, whatever, completely. That little sentence calibrates at 960. So it has a lot of power. You're coming from your divine nature to do the job. You're not coming from the little self to do the job. Do you see?
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Right. It's very interesting. So you can use this technique to go on surrendering. It's not going to be overnight, but you keep on surrendering every time you have the opportunity that a challenge comes at any one of the centers. You knowing now that this is the challenge, to surrender all these drives, you surrender the attachments and the aversions related to each one of these drives until your life begins to transpire in a state of surrender, which means that the lower centers, the drives of the lower centers, have become not your business anymore. Not your business. At least not beyond just doing your part. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. How does that play out in all the reactions that you have, the conflicts that you have with people? If you're in a conflict with somebody you're really angry with and they're really angry with you, what you're saying is, you'd say, this situation is so-and-so, the divine surrenders, and then at that point, you don't deal, but what if they're still pissed off at you and they're still, what happens with that? You just don't buy into what they're... I'm trying,
Yes.
I have to plug it in.
I get it. See, what will happen, she's asking about how to surrender a conflict in a relationship, right? What happens is that if you surrender it, then it stops being a problem in the mind.
Right.
Yeah, what you don't want is the mind obsessing with anything. Obsessions is the opposite of freedom. Let me explain this a little bit more because it's extremely important. This thing that you have here, this voice that you carry here, is the voice of the ego.
Right.
That's what it is. And it's controlling your life, it's controlling the mind-body organism, it's controlling your feeling through thought. The ego, with its concerns in regard to all the drives that I have mentioned, is voicing its preoccupations and issues through this voice here in the head. So you want that to be as silent as possible. You want the ego to go silent as much as possible, right? But if the ego is totally in control, if it's completely controlling, trying to control the human experience, good luck. This voice here will go wild. Because the ego is a bad instrument to control the human experience. Very bad. It does a lousy job. But it can obsess to the extreme around controlling the human experience. So one by one, you keep on working to surrender all these drives and all the attachments and aversions connected to these drives, so that this voice here begins to subside gradually. It's going to take years, perhaps, but that's the work that needs to be done. Because when you begin to let go of all these things, then the ego becomes more silent. And then what happens is, and this helps a lot in the process, is that as you learn to rest as consciousness, we saw that during the meditation, the mind also tends to quiet down. This voice of the ego tends to quiet down because you're resting as consciousness. You're resting as awareness. However, you will see that if you try to sustain this state of resting as open awareness, which is the pointer that I like the most, resting as open consciousness, if you try to sustain that, it will sooner or later encounter the enemy. What's the enemy? The voice in the head. Where the voice in the head comes? From the drives, from the attachments and aversions related to each one of these drives. That's where it comes from. And then as it becomes activated, and it begins to loop in the head, it can trigger negative feelings, negative emotions, and then consciousness, which is your true nature, that was resting quite comfortably and peaceful and even blissful in itself. Suddenly you see, boom, being caught into the voice in the head. And the voice in the head hijacks the consciousness. And that is why consciousness is not free, because consciousness essentially is free, right? But it doesn't seem to be free here, because it's being hijacked by the voice, by the ego, by the voice of the ego.